Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. I just want to go into a little car flow. So as we drop into these energies, this is meant to be felt, not necessarily understood on a linear basis, although I do have some flow coming through about the energies. So we'll kind of go into that. I have a lot of energy updates to continue sharing, but right now, this is like my form of meditation, one of my forms of meditation. And I really want to just point that out briefly, that one of the topics that's been coming up a lot is meditation, and that we're really being called to meditate however we need to. And that looks different for everyone. So just a gentle reminder that if you're not used to meditating, or you feel like, oh, I don't meditate, that I need to meditate, but I don't know how. Every body is different. So some people find meditation through surfing. Some people find meditation through fishing. Some people find that they are meditating when they are sitting in the grass and just enjoying nature. It could be playing with your children. I mean, this isn't the classical sense of meditation, certainly, but what it is giving us the opportunity to drop into a more relaxed state, a present state of being, and essentially syncing up our body, our breath, and dropping in to just feeling present, being in the present, being in the present moment. It isn't necessarily about us going into some transcendental state every single time, although that is a style of meditation. So for me, when I channel or when I tune in with my guides, it's my form of meditation. So, okay. So as we drop into these energies, we find clarity oftentimes. We find the pieces and we pick up the pieces that we may have felt that we were missing. Many people feel as if there is so much going on in the world that they are unable to chart their own course. For how can they chart their own course when the world is at such a disadvantage? And this is a play on words. Many people feel at a disadvantage, for they are unable to focus in on their own course because they are so focused on the course of the media, the internet, the others outside of us. And even though all of us are you, we, one in the sea of the form that is energy, we also recognize that there is identity that comes with the human experience. And so, what it is that we are identifying with is having an impact on where it is that we seek and share and express through our energy. This means that many of us are finding ourselves at a disadvantage, for we are unable to take advantage of the incoming currencies and energies when we are constantly seeking something or a source outside of our own source of delight, of light, of joy. And so we invite those who are feeling lost in this now moment in the chaos to remember there is more than what is being presented. There is more than the chaos. There is more than just falling into line with what it is that they are telling us to line up and watch. I guess there's a lot going on in the media right now, and a lot of people are really focusing on that. Now, you may not be one of those, and there are those of you who just feel lost in the chaos of life. And there are those of you that feel very in tune with life and feel very centered. And this message is not lost to you, but you realize that you do not necessarily feel lost in the news right now or lost in the new energies. You are feeling very balanced. And so we invite everyone to reach out and connect with those who do feel balanced so that we can all share how that can be achieved, if we want to call it that, in an easier way. So this transmission is meant to share a way through the wave, or meant to share a wave of energy that may allow some to feel relaxed, to feel at peace, to feel centered. If you can tune into the frequency in which these energies are being offered through. And we are not just validating the experience of a channeler or sharing that the energies that are coming through are, I'm hearing my experience, Carrie's energy, that it's like the medium that we're all in. So I'm sitting here, right, in this car, uh, and this energy that I'm feeling, I wouldn't be able to feel if I wasn't just dropping into my heart and feeling into my center. And then I can share that with you guys, and it gives us an opportunity to center in on a bigger state of presence, a better state of presence. And that's all a play on words. That's a play on words too with the state, because a lot of the people in the United States are focusing on what's going on in the States regarding elections and debates and things like that. So we offer a signature or a frequency or a sound, a harmonic, if you will, that allows for the field to move a bit when we send out this signal. For we are all sending out a signal that is a movement that moves through the field and causes a ripple effect and creates an impact on those that are in our field. And so the more we feel into what it is that we are projecting into this field that we are all sharing, I'm hearing field of plenty, plenty of energies, plenty of, it's a mixed bag. The more we begin to isolate our own frequency in a positive way, that we can tune into our own sound, our own hum, our own human, our own hum on, to come into hum. I'm hearing like, come on, man, hum on, man. And this allows us to create from that space that many people are feeling distracted out of or feeling unable to access because of the distractions that they are being pulled into, knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes we go knowingly into these distractions thinking that we will easily shift out of them, and we get lost and then forget that we got lost in this pit of distraction, or the dream, if you will. And we remember, I'm hearing, oh, I forgot to eat today. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot that, because we were so distracted by all of the stuff that we're tuning into. This can also be, by the way, family drama. It can be lots of things. It's not necessarily one particular thing. It doesn't have to be politics. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just whatever it is that pulls us off course. And so we share this because the upcoming year will bring many different stories, and there are many different broadcasters broadcasting an energy or a story or a frequency. And we could layer this up. For the broadcasting that is happening through the airwaves are producing a signal. So the airwaves are producing a signal. I'm calling it airwaves, but the radio waves, the internet, I'm hearing, I'm seeing like, what are those big, not sonar, but satellite discs? And they're sending out a signal. So we are feeling those signals and the electromagnetic frequency that is produced from this extensive use of technology. We are feeling all of the signals that are coming from our phone and the radiation. We are sensing the signals that are coming from all inorganic technology, as well as the signals that are coming from the organic technology, but we will get to that in a moment. Then we have the signals that are being sent out by the human collective, for each individual sends out their own sound and has a ripple effect. And it is very effective in connecting in with the field, for we are all creating the field in which we are connected into through, with, expressing from and through. There are also the signals of energy that are created through, I'm hearing an attitude, a tube. And so these energy signals, these energy signatures are all combining together to create his story. That's a play on words, his story, whoever that is. This is not a particular person, it's man's story. And again, this isn't a a sex thing or a gender thing. It's just human. So whatever we're creating as humans, we're all part of the story. We're part of the technology. We're part of the signals. We're part of the organic. We're part of the inorganic because we're the ones co-creating this at a massive scale. And so it's a lot at times. And the recognition of this is key. For each person has inside of them a key to break through these distortions. And the biggest key is the heartfelt frequency as we honor our body, as we honor humanity as having a living experience, and honor one another and all as a living organism having a living experience together in this same soup, in this same medium, in this same field. For the animals are sharing the field with us, we are sharing the field with them, and so on and so forth. And so we are being called to reorganize how it is that we view this field, how it is that we view the creatures who are sharing this field with us. And this includes our fellow humans, as well as all things. For the more we become consciously aware by dropping in, the more we can become conscious creators of awareness, of our own innate abilities to feel into the freedom of this inner awareness. Many have lost touch with being able to touch into their own heart. They have lost touch with touching the flowers and the plants and animals that are here as part of our experience, that are sharing this with us, that are sharing their energy as we share ours. And so as we are sending out these signals, all is picking up on them. So many of us are being called to pick up our frequency, pick ourselves up in order to pick up on the frequencies and energies that are slightly above where it was that we were before. This has to do with time. This has to do with where we are in space. This has to do with how each of us are vibrating. This has to do with the dimensional existence and awareness that we are all co-creating in, becoming, and tuning into, and turning into. For as we turn another tide, as we come to another turn point, as we point in the direction that we want to turn, as we turn to the direction that we are pointing towards, as we create this in every moment as a living being that is creating this frequency every moment in every day, in this exchange of energy, we are being invited to co-create in a different way. Can we feel this energy output? Can we feel the signal that we are outputting, that we are putting out there? Or are we put off or feeling put out by the time that it takes to tune into this? For it is sometimes seen as the least important part of our day. Yet many of us are recognizing that it is the most important part of the day, as it is the actual part that creates the day. So we are creating a new relationship with time. We are exchanging new relationships. We are creating a different program than we ever have before. And so we are the captains of this ship, the leaders of this ship. We are leading the ship, whether or not we recognize that we are all also the ship. We are the ship creators. We are the vessel that is moving the vessel of this particular reality or matrix. And we're going to many different layers here and geometries of how reality is created. But let us go back to the simplicity of being in the now moment. And we imply implicitly, this is a play on words, that in order to harness the energies that are coming in, we must stop and take account for what we are taking in, for what we are counting as important, for what it is that we are creating in this now moment. And so it is more important than ever to stop and recognize and reorganize our own currency, our own frequency. And as we do this, this changes the entire reality. We will say this over and over again, for as the outside world and the outside views ramp up in order to try to draw us in to an amped up creationary grid that is actually harnessed through an old potential. And I'm gonna kind of, I'm seeing a lot of different things. I'm seeing distortions. I'm seeing broken keys on a piano and other things. And that's a play on words, like it's things. It's more of the inanimate versus the I'm seeing stuff outside of us versus intimate, our own intimacy, our own relationship with ourselves. It's more about our relationship with money, our relationship with power, our relationship with other people, and reliance upon those things that were established a long, long time ago to try to create a particular reality that certain people wanted. Certain people wanted to see, certain powers that be would have liked to have seen projected into the future a little bit longer. And so I'm hearing just a little bit more, just a little longer, just a little bit more. And they're trying to squeeze as much as they can, and I know it's us versus them, but on the bigger picture, we're all one. So we're really just fighting against ourselves. But from a dimensional standpoint of where we are on Earth, where many of us are, that's how we have been living, right? So we're going to use that as an example. We being my higher self, versions of me, my multidimensional self, my higher self. And so we've been squeezed into this particular program. And there's a sense of desperation in this programming, and you will see it if you stop and tune into what you see on the inside. If you can tune into what you see on the inside and what you are feeling, you will then see outside of you what it is that is trying desperately to gravitate towards you, or better yet, to pull you towards it. And this is a machine, if you will, a machinery, play on words, a machination of many different timelines and realities that are not constructive, yet they were constructed in previous times as a temporary architecture in hopes of creating permanence in an impermanent reality. So, with finality. So it's basically there was an attempt to create like a finite reality in an infinite orchestration. And this is all a play on words. Some of you guys know what I'm saying. And if I can maybe go a little bit into more depth, bottom line is we've had an old paradigm that we've been all collaborating and co-creating together unknowingly and knowingly. And we've broken away from that. And that is like, wait a minute, come back. We need you. But that energy is trying to make us think that we're not the ones creating it, that we're not the ones in charge, that we don't have the power, that we're just little simple humans, that we are, I'm hearing we are no thing and everything. So we're not these things. We're not finite objects. Yes, our skin, our body, our life on earth is finite, but we are infinite. So this whole idea that we're stuck in this dimensional coexistence that is force feeding us I'm hearing gibberish and uh chaos, and this is how reality works, and this is what you should be looking at, and this is what you should be looking at, and this is what you should be looking at. We've broken away from that, and now our ship is sailing in a different direction. And I'm going to go back to the whole earth thing, because I'm just seeing that we're combining our frequencies in such a way that we've created a bridge to a different reality, which means that even though we're sailing our ships in a different direction, we're still giving access to this other world or reality or structure that we're co-creating for those who are unable to access it on their own. From one perspective, this is from my perspective. Many of us are inviting our brothers and sisters to see that there's more than what we're being told there is. And it's not necessarily from us yelling at them and telling them. So what I'm hearing is, don't use the same ploy and the same tactics to grab people, to get their attention. You need to look over here. You need to focus on this. You need to do this, because that's kind of the same thing that the old paradigm was doing. And what I'm hearing is that's a trick also. So that's a trick of the trade. So we're trading one thing for another. Oh, this is old energy. This is wrong. This is the new energy. This is right. So focus on this. But in actuality, that's a distraction too. Not necessarily in a terrible way, but again, if it's pulling us away from our own creative resources and our own ability to feel abundant and our own ability to be in a place of lack of fear, if it's still making us fearful, are we going to make it? Am I saying the wrong thing? Am I using the wrong words? Am I going to be whatever it might be? I'm just hearing check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's like I'm seeing that ship sailing off, and then all of a sudden we run aground. I'm hearing hard aground, because we look around and go, well, what happened? I thought I was doing the right thing by following this other leader, or following this other guru, or following this other teaching, and whatever it is. And that can be something seemingly innocent. And I just being called to take a step back and not judge any of that, because we can judge someone for co-creating their reality and then a lot of people following it. They're doing what they're doing, and whether we tune into it or not is up to us. So is it their fault for creating these magical realms that everybody wants to participate in, and then we find out that maybe those creators were creating something that isn't necessarily fully in love and light, maybe even unintentionally? Again, it's our design also. So does that design fit in a cohesive pattern that allows us to feel cohesive, that allows us to feel balanced and happy and joyful? And I'm just hearing, don't rock the boat. So if you rock the boat too hard one way, it tips over. It's finding that equilibrium, finding the balance. And so we can use a little bit of all of that and still have it be a powerful resource for our own growth, self-expression, and expansion. Because, oftentimes, even in my own work, I piggyback off of things I've learned from the past, things I've learned in my experiences that weren't always positive at the time. And also other people's stuff. If I do a video with one of my sisters, we're piggybacking off of each other. We're tuning into the field and we're expressing it in different ways. And when we express it, we're able to then activate and highlight certain ahas that we may not have had before on our own. So it's not necessarily always, and also people that I've listened to in the past that I really resonated with that I don't resonate with anymore. That's okay. They still helped me. They were still a big part, and I'm hearing impactful. So that impactfulness is a play on words. So impactfulness. So now I'm in this fullness of expression in this now moment as I speak, maybe as how I feel now, where perhaps before I was in a place where I was so impacted that it jolted me out of that place and brought me into questioning everything. And then I fell back into alignment. And that's what's happening for a lot of us. It's like, boom, impact, expansion, impact, expansion. It doesn't have to be that way though. If we find a little bit more of a balance, and I'm hearing put the sails up. Um, some of us are rowing when we have these beautiful sails and we can catch the wind. Sometimes I'm being called to play with this. We're going to feel like we're in the doldrums and there's no wind and we have to row. Other times we may realize, and I'm being shown the message is be in the doldrums sometimes. Sit with that stillness, that inner feeling. Feel what it feels like to have no thing, meaning no wind, just a calm presence of inner awareness. Sometimes we're going to be in that storm and we have to figure out how to navigate. And sometimes we just have to let go and let God kind of thing, allow ourselves to move with the tides and trust if we are fully prepared, we're in our hearts and we're present, that those tides are going to bring us to shore. And and sometimes we have to crash land is what I'm hearing. Sometimes it requires us to come hard to ground, to get grounded, to get recentered, and again reorganized. And everybody's in different phases, and those phases will shift and change. But what I'm hearing is interlocking. So I'm seeing all these puzzle pieces kind of coming together. And I'm really being called to remind everybody that everybody has the potential to change. So we're going through this massive kind of, I don't know what the right word is. I'm kind of in the middle of flow in and out right now. Change, change, change. So just because someone has been a certain way for a really long time doesn't mean they can't change. Doesn't mean that one day they won't be impacted and run aground so hard that they have to just start fresh and become a new person. And I don't know if we want to call that a walk-in. There's different labels, all these things. This is a walk-in, this isn't. I tend to think that it's a little bit like our higher selves take over at that point, or we give ourselves permission, almost like it's full, all of a sudden it's full. I'm being called to play with this for a moment. Unification. So it's almost like we just let go and let all of our defenses down and say, universe, I'm ready. Just fully let it go. And then that higher self is able to fully drop in a little bit more because of that life crises. And that happens sometimes. I'm saying this because who is it that we are judging? Who is it that we have already been judge and jury, even though thou shalt not judge, that we think they're never going to change, they're awful, they're this, they're that. And that even could be about ourselves. I'm never going to be able to change this. I'm never going to be able to grow. This is just who I am, right? These are all limitations, limiting beliefs that we might be projecting onto someone else. Where do we believe that about ourselves? And the stories that we've been taught and told, some of us are hanging on so strongly to these stories that we're looking for an equally strong story to hang on to instead of the old one. When in actuality, letting it all go, surrender was the word I was looking for. We have this misinterpretation sometimes on the word surrender, right? If we're in battle and someone surrenders, it seems like defeat. But sometimes surrender is just about surrendering to this higher energy, the heartfelt frequency. It's humbleness, and the meek shall inherit the earth. Not weak, meek. Not surrender as in defeat, surrender as in held, supported, letting go, allowing the energies to just be absorbed. And that was something I've been talking about with my dear sister Candace, and I've talked about it with Jess, and um, I think I heard Amanda Lawrence say. So we're kind of all getting these similar messages and using different words. And you're going to find that too, that some of these energies that are coming in, if we can let go of the resistance and we can surrender to what we're feeling, it allows us to open to them, of course, right? But it also allows us to go with that tide a little bit easier. So, of course. But all right, so I'm hearing the stay on course, get back on course, even if that course is a new course. I'm also being reminded again, for whatever reason, we may be surprised at the people who are in the political realm that come forward, that have been activated, that are now heart centered, that all of a sudden had a wake up call or a walk in. I'm hearing a drop in. Like, we have this idea that with a walk in, somebody else comes in and takes over. It's just us, it's our higher self. I know that there's this idea that it's another guide or another being or a twin. And that's, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. And that might be right from one perspective. Again, I kind of hesitate to use the word right or wrong, but that might be true from one perspective. But from another perspective, it just is an energy that is part of a broader, more expansive, balanced aspect of us. So I feel strongly that that's a version of it's almost like a surrender. And that energy drops in because we fully surrender to it. And this is our higher self landing. If we want to think of me versus the higher thing that is energy, that is really just me expanding out into that bigger version of me. There's not really any separation. There was the idea of separation. And then all of a sudden, click, the puzzle pieces fit. And no longer is that separation needed for that individual growth. Something happens. Whether it's an agreement or a contract or timing is not really relevant to the message of that I'm sharing. It might be relevant to someone who teaches about this stuff, but from the perspective that I'm seeing, is it doesn't matter if what's happening creates more beauty, more togetherness, more unity, and more that matters. So matters of the heart, and I'm hearing matter as in substance. That is part of our existence. So I could keep going on and on. I'm going to end on that note. So I hope someone found this helpful. Stay on track, find our serenity. I just was shown a picture of like the lifeboat. Like, some people are like abandoned ship and they're taking this lifeboat and they're jumping on another ship. It's an analogy for how people are feeling right now. And we might surprise ourselves by who jumps to our aid when we need it most. We might be surprised, pleasantly so, if we can get out of our ego about needing to be right, or for somebody else needing to be wrong or righteous. We might be able to recognize the beauty and the gift in these relationships that all of a sudden have crossed over into this new way of establishing connection and reverence for humanity and for one another. We may not all be on the same side, but if we can all be in oneness with the betterment of humanity, that leads us in a particular direction. And that's the mindset that clears out the mindset, the set mind that this is it. This is the only way we're allowed to behave. This is how we have to do things. Just keeping that in mind and feeling into that. And then also being in a really, I'm hearing surrendering to it's almost like I wanted this to happen, but now this is happening. And this is not at all what I wanted. But there's something good in this. There's something beautiful in this. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I feel in my heart that this could actually lead to something better than what I wanted. And fill in the blanks, whatever that is. Our expectations, so on and so forth. And we're all experiencing this in our own way. Okay. In love and light, guys. Namaste.